Welcome to Michelle's Opinions. Today we're going to talk about the holographic universe. As we have already covered the simulation theory, the next best place to go is the holographic theory. I hope you guys enjoy the information presented here, that it expands your awareness and allows you to flex that muscle that you have between your ears. The holographic universe, is our 3D world just an illusion? It is difficult enough for most humans to grasp the idea that our planet is just one of countless others in our galaxy, and a pretty small one at that. Then, of course, there's the concept that our galaxy is just one of billions of others in the universe. Sure, to compound any confusion considerably, it seems safe to say, however, that neither of those notions can compete on the mind-bending scale, so to speak, with an idea that's currently being investigated at the U.S. Department of Energy's Fermilab. Ready for a hurting brain? Here goes. Fermilab is working on a device to test the theory that our whole universe is simply a hologram. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Holograms are probably at least somewhat familiar to most, if for no other reason than for the role they occasionally play on the silver screen. Princess Leia in the Star Wars series, for example, may well be one of the most memorable examples in cinematic history. From energy to matter and back again. Back to the universe. There's been a theory kicking around for several decades now suggesting that the universe itself may be a hologram. In other words, we're interested in situations where things we think are solid may not be. Instead, they may be a projection of something. It's not physical, and yet, at the next instant, it is. A decade after the published book of Walber's book and author Michael Talbot went on to publish a similar one entitled The Holographic Universe. Adding to the compelling nature of such theories is the fact that the vast majority of what we see as solid objects is actually empty space. An atom is essentially a point with a cloud of electrons. If you took a human and removed all the space between the electrons and nucleus of each atom in his or her body, and then condensed it down, the human would be smaller than the point of a pin. In other words, each of us, like a hologram, is basically a diffraction pattern that appears to be solid. Solid as we may feel, we're mostly just empty space. How's that for mind-bending? Even beyond the bounds of our planet, with all the stars and galaxies out there, it is estimated that we can only perceive about 5%. The rest the majority, it is made up of dark energy and dark matter. The reason we don't see the rest of it is because that we don't have access to that part of the hologram. Then, too, there is the inner chargeability of mass and energy, as Einstein so famously explained. Only in our minds are they separate entities. Each and every one of us, in fact, is essentially a vast amount of energy condensed into physical form. If there was a way to transform you into your energy base, a ball of energy that would come out of where you would be equivalent to what a metropolitan power station would generate over about a year. Now that's food for thought. One of us could generate a power station in a metropolitan area for a year. Just one of us. Okay. If we are mostly just empty space and energy, then despite our solid appearance, why shouldn't the universe be similarly holographic? The study of black holes has already led to the suggestion that our 3D reality is simply a holographic projection of what exists in 2 dimensions in the very outer edges of the universe, generally referred to as holographic principle. That is the idea that combines the work of Gerald T. Hooft, Charles Thorne, and the Stirling theorists Leonard Susskind. I hope I didn't butcher their names. Interest in the concept of a holographic universe was revived most recently. However, when Craig Hogan, a professor at the Department of Astronomy and Astrophysics at the University of Chicago and the director of the Fermilab for particular astrophysics, launched a project to create an instrument that can help scientists better understand any holographic properties of the universe. Drawing upon the holographic principle, the premise behind the Fermilab project is that space is 2-dimensional and that the 3rd dimension is inexplicably linked with time. In that case, our 3D world is merely an approximate illusion. Assuming that's true, the illusion is likely imperfect and blurry, just as photographs and videos are, especially when viewed on a granular level. Such imperfections would introduce a particular kind of noise or glitter into space-time, as measured by propagation of light in different directions, the Fermilab explains. By building an instrument called a holometer to detect the cosmic glitter, Hogan's team hopes to find evidence of a holographic universe. This brings to mind when people are zooming in on things that are to be in outer space. They seem to be translucent, transparent, blurry. They look solid to us from here on the ground, but as we zoom in closer and closer to them, they seem to have more of an aura energy look to them, rather than being a solid mass. Now let's look into the definition of What is a holograph or hologram? Holography is a photographic technique that records the light scattered from an object and then presents it in a way that appears three-dimensional. Holograms pop up in movies such as Star Wars, as we spoke on earlier, Iron Man, and others, but the technology is not quite caught up with movie magic yet. Various types of holograms have been made over the years, including transmission holograms, which allows light to be shined through them and the image is viewed from the side. And rainbow holograms, which are used for security purposes on credit cards and driver's licenses, for example. So, a holograph and a hologram. So they're basically, a hologram is the noun term, and the holograph is what we actually get as the ending result as we project light through an object and have it reassemble itself. So therefore, it projects out an image that is mainly of empty space. And when condensed down, it comes down to its fundamental basics of being energy. So in summation, you know I always like to leave with a little bit of humor, a little hope, a little optimism. As I'm looking into the simulation theory, and now we're looking at the holographic theory, there seems to be some truth in each of these theories that we are coming across. As amazing and astounding as each and every one of them are, the proofs are out there. We are seeing them with our own eyes. As our technology gets better and better, we're able to see further and further away. We're seeing things out in the sky that look translucent. How can that be when they look solid from the ground? The way that the stars are behaving, the way that the sun and the moon are behaving, the way that everything seems to be behaving, the way that we're able to instantly manifest the abilities and gifts and the understandings that we're all coming to. Is this a holograph? Am I just a projection from something higher? It's very possible. Are we all in God's dream? Are we all just a part of His mind? A thought that is being projected out of the energy, just like in our minds where circuits fire back and forth, full of electrical charge. Are we one of those inside the mind of our Creator? So many questions. I'm hoping by going through all of these different theories that we enjoy learning, expanding, and growing, and getting gnosis, and with the experiences that we're all having, that we come to a better understanding of who and what we are. All the information that I used will be in the show, more notes for you. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Michelle's Opinions as much as I enjoyed presenting it to you. Thank you, and have yourself a wonderful day.